What's up, ballers? Welcome back to the bar. My name is Barry. I will be your host today. It's Wednesday night parties. Unfortunately, Calvin just left. I just finished dropping him off at the airport. He is on his way to Michigan, so he will not be with us tonight. However, I'm here. I'm here to cover all your favorite basketball news in a laid-back manner. I'm drinking some beers, and I'm having fun, so let's do it. Shout out to Progressive G. Shout out to Jay Drew. Thank you guys for joining me. And if it's your first time here, if you like basketball and you like bars, make sure you smash up that like button. And please consider hitting that subscribe button. We put out fresh NBA content almost daily, tons of hot takes. And then we do these lives every single Wednesday night. And as things heat up, as the season gets started, they are going to become a lot more entertaining. So make sure you stay tuned. I'm also pre-ordering NBA 2K23. We're going to be talking about that today on the show. So I'll be doing the entire Jordan challenge here on the stream. Obviously not today, but when it arrives. So let's go ahead and jump here into the show. Today we got a few things to talk about. We got some breaking news regarding the Pat Beverley trade to the LA Lakers. We're going to talk about Kevin Durant staying here in Brooklyn. The injury to Chet Holmgren, we're going to give an update on that. Dennis Rodman could potentially be headed to Russia. What the hell is going on there? And then let's talk about NBA 2K23 and what to expect if you do pre-order the game. It comes out in just a couple weeks. So let's go ahead and get started here. Also, if you do want to call into the show, feel free. You are welcome to. I will throw that number up here on the screen, 916-562-1130. If you want to call in and hang with me tonight, feel free. All right, so let's go ahead here and jump into the breaking news of today, and that is the LA Lakers trade for Patrick Beverley. It's Pat Beverley to LA for THT, Talen Horton-Tucker, and Stanley Johnson. This was just reported by SportsCenter about 30 minutes ago. Interesting deal here. I think the big winner out of this entire trade would be Patrick Beverley, right? He thought he was going to be on a wonderful Minnesota Timberwolves team. He played exceptionally well last year in the playoffs. Then he ends up getting traded in the Rudy Gobert trade to a horrible rebuilding Jazz team. This trade sends him to LA to team up with LeBron and Anthony Davis. This could mean that the Kyrie Irving to LA rumors are officially squashed. They're not looking for a point guard. They will continue next season with Pat Beverley and with Russell Westbrook. I want to hear from you guys who you think won this deal. And then also in terms of the Jazz, what does this mean for them? They just picked up a young shooting guard in THT. Maybe he will be taking the spot of a certain Donovan Mitchell. Maybe we'll see Donovan Mitchell traded very, very soon here. So interesting deal. I like this a lot if I'm a Lakers fan. Patrick Beverley brings the defensive attitude, the energy that you need. And I think he's a good addition to this Lakers team. So big move by them. All right, let's jump into other news. And that is the Brooklyn Nets. This is kind of a strange thing that came out yesterday. The Brooklyn Nets and Kevin Durant met again, and this time they agreed to move forward. They called it a partnership. They said that, hey, we're going to be on the same team now, and let's move ahead. I think this is an interesting turn of events because Kevin Durant was just about to be shipped out of town, according to his party, right? He demanded a trade. The Nets weren't ready to trade him. They had another meeting. Kevin Durant told the owner, get rid of Sean Marks, get rid of Steve Nash. It's either me or them. The owner goes ahead and backs his head coach, backs his general manager, does not trade Kyrie Irving. And here we go. Kevin Durant remains with the Brooklyn Nets. It's interesting. It really, really is interesting. For me, I think this is probably the best thing that Kevin Durant could have done. We'll see if this lasts the entire season. This Nets team is absolutely stacked on paper. We'll see if they can hold it together because if they can, they could be one of the best teams in the NBA next season. And maybe Kevin Durant saw that. Maybe he said, okay, well, I'm locked up for 4 more years with the Nets or with whoever the Nets trade me to. I have no control. I have no trade clause. They could trade me to Detroit. So looking here, we have Kyrie Irving. My friend is still here for 1 more season. They brought in Ben Simmons. They brought in a few other guys to help out, including TJ Warren. They get Joe Harris back from injury. So I think this is a pretty good Nets team, and I think Kevin Durant realized that he has a much better shot at winning a title on this team versus any team that trades for him, because a trade package for Kevin Durant would be absolutely huge. So any contender trading for KD would have to give up so much that I think he's better off staying in Brooklyn. So interesting turn of events there, and I think a good move for the Brooklyn Nets for sure. Progressive G says, Kevin Durant seems like a moody diva. Why would he not stay with a contender like Brooklyn? Yeah, I mean, pretty much. That's what it comes down to, right? Is I honestly think that this entire situation is all because of Kyrie Irving. I think it's because the Nets did not give Kyrie a contract extension, which made Kyrie say, okay, well, I want to be traded. Couldn't find any useful trades. Nobody wanted to give up anything for 1 year of Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie opts in to stay. And then KD's like, okay, I want out then. And I think they've agreed to work it out this season. And honestly, I agree with you. I think that is the best move for the Nets, the best move for KD. And honestly, I think this is a win for the NBA in general. I think it's a loss for every NBA team because they're probably going to have to face this team, later on in the playoffs in this season, especially if you're one of these top Eastern Conference teams like the Bucks or the Celtics. I think Brooklyn will be a tough out in this year's playoffs. However, I think this is a huge win for the NBA. We've seen this kind of players era where players take over. They decide what they want, where they want to be, where they want to play. And it seems like the owners of these teams, the general managers, have been left helpless. This is a situation where the general manager and the owner stand up to the player and they say, no, you're locked up for 4 years. You're going to remain with the team, or we're only going to trade you if we get something that makes it worth our while. So I think this is a huge, huge win for the NBA in general. And who knows, maybe players are losing a little bit of power here. So we will see what happens. Next up, the Oklahoma City are in trouble here, guys. Everyone thought that they won the lottery getting Chet Holmgren, number 2. And then Chet Holmgren actually gets injured on Saturday at the Pro-Am guarding LeBron James. This game was canceled at halftime due to wet floors. But Holmgren injured his foot. And apparently now the Thunder are reporting, or there's rumors coming out that they are worried that there is potentially torn ligaments in his foot, which could jeopardize his availability this season. In my opinion, I think this takes him out of the Rookie of the Year race. So that opens it up for guys like Jaden Ivey, Keegan Murray, I think Jabari Smith, Paulo has a chance as well. But this is unfortunate to see for a young, high promising rookie like Chet Holmgren. However, injuries are part of the game, and hopefully he can get through this and work back and come back stronger. I have a video here if you guys would like to see. Let me make it a little bit bigger. But this is the play that the injury happens on. It's quite unfortunate, and he is guarding LeBron James. Come on, mouse. Work with me here. Hold on one second. We're having some issues here. Okay. There he is right under the basket. Comes up limping. Tries to run back down the court. Not feeling it at all. Very, very sad situation for Chet Holmgren. And like I said, this game actually got canceled at halftime. This is a Pro-Am game that's held by Jamal Crawford. He canceled the game at halftime due to wet or slippery floors. Not sure if that had anything to do with this play, but you had guys like LeBron James out there, Jason Tatum, obviously Chet Holmgren. Sad situation. So hopefully he can recover from this and come back. All right, in other news, Dennis Rodman. Earlier this week, he let it be known that he was planning a trip to Russia to try and help get that girl out. And that girl is Brittany Griner, who many people know has just sentenced to 9 years in prison for marijuana cartridges in her luggage at a Russian airport. She was arrested, I believe, a week right before the invasion of Ukraine. A really, really crazy situation, a very polarizing situation, right? We hear people on both sides saying she shouldn't have done that. Maybe she deserves to be punished. You have other people saying, well, there's a war going on. She's being wrongfully detained. Whatever your thoughts are, it's really an unfortunate situation for her because she is the one that's paying for this. And interesting situation. You know, Dennis Rodman has been very famous recently in the past, 10 years or so by being best friends or one of the best friends of a dictator in North Korea. He also said he has a relationship with Putin as well. So interesting that he said that he was going to go there. Now it comes out today that he apparently decided to cancel his trip. And this is him apologizing. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. There were multiple people in the U.S. government advising Rodman against taking this trip and even saying that maybe this could be bad for Brittney Griner and this could make things even tougher on her. So unfortunately, Dennis Rodman will not be coming to her rescue, and we will see what happens. This is a very, very tough situation, so we will see what happens as things progress. It's very, very tough. All right, let's talk a little bit about NBA 2K23. If you haven't ordered the game, you need to pre-order it right now. And I'll give you a couple reasons. First off, if you pre-order the Jordan Edition, you get a free year of League Pass. That's all the games, except for whatever's in your local area is always blacked out. But you can watch all NBA games this year with League Pass. So if you have not pre-ordered already, you need to do that. Pre-order the Jordan Edition, get a free year of League Pass. If you play My Career, you also receive 5,000 in VC, 5,000 My Team points, 10 My Team promo packs that are delivered in 1 week increments, a boost for each My Career skill type. I really like that a lot. A boost for each Gatorade boost type, a Devin Booker My Player jersey, and a 95 rated Devin Booker My Team free agent card. All these come for free when you pre-order the game, so you might as well do it if you're going to be playing. Obviously, if you don't play 2K, you shouldn't be worrying about this stuff. But if you do, make sure you pre-order it because you get a bunch of extra bonuses. And also, I will be here on the channel playing 2K a ton. I'll be live streaming all of my games. I'm going to complete the Jordan Challenge. I'm going to create my own career. And of course, I will be rebuilding many different basketball teams because I love the career mode and the franchise mode. And who knows, once we start going into the season, we get 25, 30, 40 games in, we'll get a better look at who is the cream of the crop and who is fighting for lottery position. So I'd be happy to rebuild any of those lottery teams if you have any suggestions. Progressive G, the pre-order I think was $140 for the Jordan Edition. It might have been $149, but it's a great deal considering I've paid over $200 just for League Pass in the past. Plus you get all these extras as well. So definitely worth it. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for current news. Did you guys have any questions for me? Feel free to drop them here in the chat. I'm also going to put this number up again on the screen, 916-562-1130. If you want to call into the show, feel free to, and we can have a discussion. As I mentioned, Calvin, unfortunately, is not here tonight. He will not be here tomorrow night on Royal Rebounds. However, I do have two guests. Sacktown Pete will be joining me, and also Skip. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Tonight's a pretty mellow night, but as I mentioned, big news here. The Lakers trade for Patrick Beverley. I think this is absolutely huge. I think this is huge for the Lakers. They needed a boost. They've been talking all offseason about bringing in another point guard, what they can do to help boost this team and get back to the playoffs after they missed the playoffs last season. I think this is really going to help them a lot. So I think it's a huge move for them. How am I feeling about the Kings offseason at the moment? I feel great. Progressive G, did you miss us last night on Roll Rebounds? I can't remember if I saw you there in the chat, but I'm actually feeling really, really good about the Kings offseason. You know, Monty is really, really gained my trust over the past 2 seasons. I think he's drafted extremely well. I know it's a little early still, but I want to say he's hit in 3 draft picks straight in a row. Tyrese Halliburton, I think, will be a stud. I love what I've seen from Davion Mitchell. And I love what I've seen from Keegan Murray so far. He won Summer League MVP. I think the dude will play exceptionally well on this Kings roster. I love that they added shooting. I love that they added more rebounding, some defense. I think there's, and I also love the addition of Mike Brown to the coaching staff. They brought back Doug Christie, some of these other guys. I like Jody Fernandez a lot as well. So I am really, really ecstatic about the Kings roster. And I think they have a really good chance of making the playoffs next season. Calvin and I touched on it a little bit on yesterday's podcast, trying to figure out what the starting lineup is going to look like. So far, they basically have Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, and Sabonis as the starting 5. It'll be interesting to see if that is that starting 5, right? Because Murray is a rookie. We'll see how much playing time he actually does get. If he starts to struggle early on, maybe he gets benched. What do you do with Richaun Holmes? Do you bring him off the bench, or maybe you start Sabonis at the 4 and Richaun Holmes at the 5? And then what's going to happen as far as like Kevin Herter, Malik Monk? You do have Terrence Davis as well. So I think that shooting guard position also could be shuffled around a little bit. Or maybe you play one of these 3-guard lineups where you move Harris and Barnes to the 4 and play Richaun Holmes Sabonis at the 5 and bring Richaun off the bench. So I think there are a lot of options. I think there is a lot of versatility on this team. And I think that depending on the matchup, they will have the flexibility to be able to move things on their roster. But yeah, definitely check out yesterday's podcast. I'm sorry I scheduled it a little bit late. I did forget, but it is scheduled, and I will be back again tomorrow with a couple guests. So thank you guys so much for tuning in on today's. I apologize it's a little bit short, but we did have some breaking news, and I will be back tomorrow on Royal Rebounds and back next week on this channel. So thank you guys so much for watching. I got to take the dog out. She is yelling at me, but appreciate you guys for watching, and have a good evening.